العلم أشراف مطلوب وطالبه لله أكرام من يمشي على قدمه. العلم نور مبين يستضيء به أهل السعادات والجهال في الظلم.
Hassan, ask me those questions please if possible. طيب, questions. Doesn't mean you can't ask questions, you can ask questions. Can a woman travel to another city alone without a mahram? La. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said it is not permissible for a woman that believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wal yawm al-akhir an tusafira illa ma'a dhi mahram, and that she travels except with a mahram. And whether you say to another city, to another country, doesn't really matter. Can a woman travel without a mahram is the question. And a woman cannot travel without a mahram. طيب. As for what is considered travelling, then we've talked about it on a few occasions. This is 5 questions. Hold on. Naam, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Could you please kindly repeat the kind of tawaf that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam performed? Good question. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did tawaf al-qudum, the tawaf for when you get to Makkah. Now the difference is tawaf al-qudum, for the person that's performing the same hajj as the messenger, the qarin, it is a sunnah for him. It is a sunnah for him. Like on the 10th day, na'am, the person that is a qarin and the person that all types of hajjaj, they're going to be expected to do tawaful ifada, which is the rukn of hajj, the pillar of hajj. We shall see. Now, when you said the person performs umrah and then becomes halal, what did you mean by halal? As if it's not haram, and he's not guillotined beforehand. In regards to the first type of hajj, this is a good question. See, the benefit of these questions coming from the students is because when the teacher's talking, he may mention things that he may think the students understand, but in reality they may not understand. They need clarification. These are the benefits of Q&A. Halal, طيب. Ihram, in the state of ihram, means the person is, there are things that are haram for him to do. Mathalan, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in the hadith of Ali radiallahu anhu, تحريمها التكبير وتحليلها التسليم. It's tahrim, what makes it haram, is the takbir. So when a person says Allahu Akbar, are they allowed to eat and drink? La, it is haram. Are they allowed to talk? La, it is haram. What should they do? Carry on praying. They can only pray. Then they become halal well, meaning when they say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, that's when they become halal. Meaning that's when it's halal for them to eat, to drink, talk, and so on. So for umrah, what I mean by halal, or what the scholars mean, is when a person puts on his ihram, and they put on the 2 white garments, mathalan, labbaik Allahumma umratan, and they're performing umrah, in that state of ihram, they're not allowed to trim their hair, whatever type of hair, they're not allowed to cut their nails, they're not allowed to put on nikah, they're not allowed to put on tib, atar, they're not allowed to get married, to do nikah, to give away, or to marry. Lakin, once they finish the tawaf, and the sa'i from Safa and Marwa, and then they cut their hair, they are now halal. Meaning, they can do all of these things. They can trim their hair, shave their hair, cut their nails, get married, put on adar, and so on. So that is the meaning of halal.
What if the person that wants to do is it mufrad or mufrid?
Mufrid, the person just hajj.
Can he arrive before the 8th?
No, he can arrive before the 8th. He can arrive whenever he wants. Ashhur al-Hajj, in the months of Hajj. The only problem, he'll be in those 2 garments.
And if he arrives and he doesn't have the ihram on, does he have to leave and go to the miqat place?
We'll get to that. What a person does if they leave the miqat without putting their ihram on. We're going to get to that. The Sheikh's going to talk about that. La, miqat is singular form. Mawaqit is plural. Jazakallah khair. Coming from? Coming from? Najd, Qarn al-Manazil, Sayyid al-Kabir. So that's where the people coming from Riyadh would. If a man has enough money to go for Hajj himself, but not for his wife, is it wajib for him to go? Or should he save so he can go with his wife? La, it's wajib for him to go. It is wajib for him to go. If it wasn't wajib for him to go, then we would be saying that one of the conditions for a man to go is for him to take his wife. And that is not one of the conditions of Hajj. So if he has enough money, then he should go Hajj. Lakin, if he's saying, I've got enough money for myself for this year, lakin I'm going to delay my Hajj to next year, and I'm going to raise enough money, save enough money to take the wife next year, then that's fine as well. And inshallah, him delaying it 1 year, that's a legitimate excuse. If a sister's only mahram is her brother, is it obligatory upon him to take her to Hajj? If he is able to save up and take her, he has enough money. If a person, with the brother or the husband, so if a woman does not have a mahram, or no, this sister has a mahram, it is obligatory upon him. It is not obligatory for him to save money to take her. It is not obligatory for him to save money so that he could take his sister. طيب. Lakin, if he hasn't performed the Hajj, then obviously it's wajib upon him to perform Hajj for himself. And in that case, he should take his sister with him. Like, we can't say it's wajib for him to say, Allahu A'lam, lakin, we can't say that it's wajib for him to save money in order to take his sister, who can pay for herself.
So you said you were going to mention the fire, cutting the hair and the nail.
Naam. The next few lessons, the Shaykh's going to mention it. If a person leaves the miqat without putting on the normal clothing, the ihram, or if a person cuts his nails, if a person cuts his hair, there's a fine that they have to pay, fasting 3 days, feeding the poor people of Makkah, or so on. We shall see that, inshallah. What is the name of the principle? What is the name of the principle? A general command necessitates doing it immediately. Al-amru al-mutlaqu yaqtadi al-fawriya. Al-amr al-mutlaq, the amr that is mutlaq, unrestricted, yaqtadi al-fawriya. And the meaning of that is, for example, if a person, Allah Jalla wa Ala commands us to perform Hajj, it means we immediately perform it. Can't say we're going to do it somewhere along the line.
With the mechanic, I'm not too sure of geographical.
With the
mechanic, the areas.
Yeah.
Do they correspond and tally up with north, east, south, west?
Like, it just depends on where the person is coming from.
If you're coming in, you should stop at one of them. You should come in from one of them.
Whichever side you're coming from, whichever side, you can't just choose which side.
No, say you're coming from the UK.
You're coming from the UK, but it still depends on what side you're coming in from. Mathalan, if you take Jordanian Airlines, you're going to come in from Sham. But if you take Yemeni Airlines, you're going to come in from so you're going to come in from Yemen. So Yalamlam is going to be your miqat. But here, like in Juhfa, is going to be your miqat. So it depends what airline you're with. If you're coming from the UK, because obviously you're not going to go by land if you're going to UK. If you're going by land, like Qarn al-Manazil, there's actually a place that it's called Qarn al-Manazil. You can sit down. There's a masjid. It's nice and so on, and you can buy your ihram. Same thing for the Hulayfa, and same thing for the other miqat that are on the ground. Could you please explain the Hajj months? Why do the months start much earlier than Hajj? Allahu A'lam, Ashhur Ma'lumat. They are the months of Hajj, Allahu A'lam. Shawwal, Dhul Qa'dah, and 10 days of Dhul Hijjah. They're the sacred months that were even known in Jahiliyyah now. طيب.
the man finishes running, you wait for his chemo.
No, you can wait. You can wait for them when you. On there. So when you get to the end of the green line, the second green line, you stop. You can wait for them. If it's Hajj and you fear obviously that you're going to miss them, then you just walk with them. Go on.
This question is asking, Salam, if the man fears losing his woman folk doing the rights, is it allowed for them to hold on to the garment of the other in order to stay together?
Of course they would. What's preventing it? But hold on. If you hold on to the haram, though, it might fall off. Yeah. So be careful. Lakin, naam, that's fine. You can hold hands. You can hold the hand. You can hold the garments. Obviously, with the ihram, you've got to be careful. But you just as a fact that you can put a belt around your ihram. That's it. That relates to the previous. What if you do not have? Relating to the previous. What if you do not have? What if you don't have mahram relatives? That's fine. If you don't have mahram relatives, then Hajj is not wajib upon you until you get married, inshallah.
So what's the condition of somebody's Hajj? Say if they're not majnoon, but they want to go on Hajj.
Like if they're majnoon, if they're insane and they want to perform Hajj, their Hajj is not going to be correct. Just like if they wanted to perform Salah, and their Salah would not be correct. The Messenger ﷺ said, رُفِعَ الْقَلْمُ عَنْ ثَلَاثٍ. The pen of taklif, responsibility, has been lifted upon 3. Al-majnun hatta yafiq, the insane person, until they come back to normality. Why? Because when you're performing these ibadat, you need to have niyyah. Now this person doesn't have, it's not possible for him to have the niyyah. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Will he be rewarded?
La, it won't be rewarded. He's insane. He doesn't know what he's doing. Unless obviously sometimes it's not junoon that is all the time, or it is not junoon that takes him totally out of his senses.
That's what we say if they've got a carer and they're semi-sane.
No, that's fine if they're not fully not mentally well, but they've got some sort of disease.
Down syndrome, for example.
Allahu A'lam, Down syndrome, it wouldn't be wajib upon them, I believe. Allahu A'lam, lakin nashuf inshallah. We'll see. If you did sa'i from Marwa to Safa too many times, what do you do? Is it a pillar of Hajj? No, sa'i, naam, is one of the wajibat of Hajj, lakin, if you do it too many times, what can you do? Mathalan, you pray 6 rak'at, what can you do? There's no way of taking those two out. So you've done too many, that's fine. There's no punishment for it. There's no you don't get fined for it. You don't have to do a fidya for it, slaughter an animal and so on. There's a question. If Hajj is wajib upon a person, al-fawr, immediately, once they're able, then why can't a person who is financially able but physically unable temporarily get someone to perform Hajj on their behalf? Do both conditions have to be met simultaneously? Do you understand the question? So the person that is financially able to perform Hajj, like physically they can't perform Hajj because of a long-term illness. Mathalan, someone's paralyzed, but they're financially able to perform Hajj. What should they do? Pay someone. What about if a person's physically not well, like it's a temporary illness? They know they're going to get back better within a few months. What should they do? So the questioner says, why can't that sort of person get someone to perform Hajj? Do both conditions have to be met simultaneously?
Can you repeat the last part?
Yeah. The person that is temporary, mathalan, someone broke their leg on Eid Day, mathalan, or they end up in coma, then they come out in the Qa'dah, or 10 days before the Hajj. Obviously they're not physically able to go, but they're temporarily ill, so they'll get better. Like, and they've got the finances. Can they pay someone to go? No. Why? Because Hajj upon that individual is not wajib. The difference is, the one that is financially able to perform Hajj, like if physically they're not able, it's wajib upon them from that moment. So the one that is paralyzed, there's only one condition that can possibly be met in his case, which is what? Finance. If he's got the financial capability to get someone to perform Hajj for him, then he should perform Hajj. As for the person who's able physically, then there are two conditions. The first is he has to be financially stable, able to go Hajj. The second is what? He has to physically be able to go. And he will be able to go, inshallah, when he gets better. So both have to be met. That is similar to, in order to understand it, in ilm usul al-fiqh, there's there's a reason why something has been legislated. In some rulings, there are two illas. There are two illas. And both illas, both reasons, must be met for that ruling to be wajib, or for it to be carried out and applied. Mathalan, qisas. The simple example is qisas. You all know what qisas is. If a person kills a person, they also get killed, sah? Is it just like that? Mathalan, what happens if you accidentally run someone over? Do you get killed for it? La, طيب. What about the person that's actually carrying out qisas himself? So he works for the Ministry of Islamic Affairs. He has his sword and he just cuts off the head of who he's commanded to cut the head off. Can qisas be performed on him? Why not? He is killing an individual. He's taken a what? An order.
From the Sharia.
طيب.
Legislated place.
Two conditions. صح. It has to be intentional, and it has to be udwan, dhulm. It has to be with oppression. So if a person kills someone intentionally, and they kill someone intentionally whilst oppressing them with dhulm, then they get killed. If these two conditions are not met, both of them, then there can't be any qisas. Just like the individual that's actually carrying out the qisas. He's intentionally killing him, like what is missing? Dhulm. He's not doing a dhulm. Adl. He's meant to kill this person. Likewise, if a person accidentally runs someone over, it's dark and there's a blind spot, all of a sudden he sees someone squeaking under his tire and they die. Qatul khata, they call it. It's an accident, so it's not intentional. So both of these have to be met for the ruling to be applied of qisas. Likewise, for Hajj, both of these have to be met for this individual for Hajj to be wajib. Financially, they have to be able, and physically, they have to be fit at that particular moment, if their illness is one that they're expected to recover from. Is it permissible to use fragrant toiletries whilst in a haram, such as body wash, shampoo? Naam, this is a good question as well, and all of the Hujjaj often ask about this. What is prohibited is that a person goes out of their way, or if a person uses something which is considered tib or perfume. So a lot of times brothers have in their pockets what? Perfume. So they get it out and they put it on. They're intending to what? To use this as misk, as atar and so on. So they can smell good. So the fragrance is intended. Like in things like shampoos and soaps, it is not misk. It is not atar. It is not tib. It's just the flavour that it carries. So that, the shampoos and the soaps, then you can use while it's in a state of ihram. People find it not very difficult because some of them stay away from soap and shampoo and so on. If you're performing Hajj on someone's behalf, can you start your travel from your own place of residence? Good question. Yes, you can. You start from where you're performing Hajj from. Like, and just to note, when you're performing Hajj on behalf of someone else, you first must have performed Hajj. So this person that's getting someone to perform Hajj on his behalf, the one that is doing the Hajj, he must have first performed Hajj.
We'll take this last one, inshallah, online.
Go on.
So the question is asking, is the Hadi sacrifice for Qiran and Tamattu restricted in the region of the haram? Is it wajib or recommended?
La, it's wajib. It has to be done. The hadi must be slaughtered حتى بلغ the verse
حد يمحل.
hadi mahilla, until the blood reaches its place, until the hadi, has to be done in Makkah. It can't be done outside. It has to be done in the manasik. It has to be done in the manasik, and we shall see. And you could do it any time from the 10th day, 11th, 12th, 13th. We shall see, inshallah. And it is a requirement for the hadi, the hajj of the qarin. It is wajib upon him because he's already brought his animal with him, sacrificed the animal. The other one, the mutamatti', he gets it on the 10th day.